Nightline begins now with me, Raymond. News making the headlines. Water surge hits Kemaman. 2 dead, 8 still missing. And Prime Minister assures thorough investigation on alleged corruption at KLIA. Good morning. Police have confirmed that the 2 dead victims in the water surge incident at Jeram Mawa Waterfall in Air Putih, Kemaman, Terengganu are a mother and her child, while 8 others are still missing. Kemaman District Police Chief Superintendent Hanyan Ramlan said so far 9 of the victims have been confirmed to be from the same family, while another has yet to be identified. The first body found was identified as 40-year-old Aziza Aiyi, while the second was that of an 11-year-old son, Muhammad Zulkarnain Haikal Karim, after an identification process. Aziza's body was found at around 12:45 p.m., while Zulkarnain's body was found at 5 p.m. The 7 other missing victims from the family have been identified. They were from Felda Lepa Hilir in Kuantan Pahang. The search and rescue operation was called off at 6 p.m. on Sunday due to poor weather conditions and would resume at 8 a.m. on Monday. Police also found a car and a motorcycle suspected of belonging to the victims approximately 2 kilometers from the location where the second body was found. Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim has assured that a thorough investigation will be conducted into the alleged mistreatment of a Chinese national by immigration officers recently. The Prime Minister said the Cabinet will hold preliminary discussions regarding the matter on Wednesday, adding that appropriate action will be taken against those found to have committed any wrongdoings. During a surprise visit to Kuala Lumpur International Airport on Sunday, Dato Sri Anwar said the majority of immigration officers were seen to be performing their duties well, adding that appropriate action would be taken against all parties involved were uncovered that could jeopardize immigration operations.
Saya cuba teliti langkah-langkah diambil setakat ini dan saya lihat memang immigration buat respon yang sangat baik, yang positif. Yang kita harus kenal pasti ialah beberapa kelompok kecil yang masih tidak mampu membawa perubahan, termasuk berdepan dengan beberapa tuduhan. Jadi insyaAllah siasatan rapi akan dibuat. It is understood that Dato Sri Anwar was not accompanied by any ministers or department heads during the 30-minute visit, and that he interacted only with the customs and immigration officers who were on duty at the time. It had earlier been reported that a minister allegedly caused a commotion at KLIA by entering the International Arrival Hall to help a Chinese national who was denied entry into the country. Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister Dato Sri Tiong King Sing subsequently admitted to being at the center of the commotion and claimed that his visit to the airport had exposed a culture of corruption and chronic abuse of power involving immigration officials. On Saturday, the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission said it will be investigating Dato Sri Tiong's allegation, while the Immigration Department has started its own investigation into the incident. Meanwhile, the police have opened an investigation paper into the commotion at KLIA involving Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister Dato Sri Tiong King Sing recently. Selangor Police Chief Dato Hussein Omar Khan said the report was lodged by a member of the public who requested an investigation into the possibility that trespassing had taken place. Dato Hussein said at this stage the investigation will determine if any wrongdoings was committed by those involved. He also confirmed that so far only 1 report had been lodged with the police regarding the incident. In the meantime, the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, said it will meet with Dato Sri Tiong on Monday over allegations of graft among immigration officers at KLIA. Its Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azam Baki said the agency will also meet the Chinese national whose alleged detention by immigration officials led to Dato Sri Tiong's intervention recently. Tan Sri Azam said the MACC had to obtain its own information on the matter, as the allegations have so far only been exposed through media reports.
He also urged for patience among the public, adding that the MACC would investigate the matter according to the law. The Finance Ministry will work with Communications and Digital Ministry to tackle scam cases involving the exchange of e-Belia Rahmah credits for cash. First Deputy Finance Minister Datuk Sri Ahmad Mazlan said MOF will hold a meeting with KKD on Monday to discuss the matter, which is believed to have been offered by irresponsible parties on social media.
Saya akan berbincang dengan mereka supaya perkara ini highlight di laman sosial Kementerian Komunikasi, termasuk TV, radio, supaya 2 juta belia tidak tertipu dengan scammer yang cuba menunaikan RM200 dan diberi secara tunai.
Datuk Sri Ahmad said this in a media conference after a visit to the Johor Valuation and Property Service Department in Johor Bahru on Sunday. He also said the redemption of the RM200 credit for youths aged 18 to 20 years or full-time students studying at higher education institutes, IPT, in cash is not allowed. He added that this is because the provision of credit to that group via one of the 3 e-wallet service providers is part of the government's efforts to encourage cashless spending among youths. On why students of Teachers Education Institute, IPG, are being excluded from the e-Belia Rahmah credit program, Datuk Sri Ahmad said this was because they were already receiving a RM450 monthly allowance. At the same event, Datuk Sri Ahmad said the federal government assets have been valued at more than RM1 trillion so far. He said the figure was based on the Accountant General's Department and other Property Valuation and Services Department, JPPH's assessment, involving government land and buildings made over a period of 10 years since 2013.
Setakat ini, angka yang diberi oleh Jabatan Accountant Negara pada saya lebih 1 trilion. Pada tahun ini sahaja disebut penilaian harta akan bertambah lagi 30 bilion. Ya, lebih 1 trilion dah. Lebih pada separuh, lebih 1 trilion. Dan dalam pengharapan saya lah, saya harap nilai aset kita lebih banyak daripada nilai hutang kita. Itu harapan saya lah.
The value of the federal government's assets is expected to continue to rise as the valuation process is ongoing because other assets, including those abroad, have yet to be assessed. Datuk Sri Ahmad also noted that the evaluation process is ongoing to identify the value of the federal government's assets, which is hoped will exceed the RM1.5 trillion national debt. The government has approved an allocation of RM85 million to enable damaged roads under the Jiwa Murni project in Sarawak to undergo upgrading works. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said the reconstruction of the road that connects the Ba'a Kelalan with Bario and the surrounding areas will begin in mid-July and is expected to be completed by Christmas time. Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid, who is also a Rural and Regional Development Minister, said the upgrading work involved damaged roads that are no longer usable due to it being frequently used by logging trucks. He added the implementation of the project needs to be done immediately so that improved road infrastructure can be provided for the benefit of the people in the affected areas.
Dulunya, sewaktu saya jadi Menteri Pertahanan, jalan itu telah dimulakan. Apabila 5 tahun sesuatu telah tidak dapat dilakukan oleh kerajaan terdahulu, maka ini saya kembali, saya menyambungnya demi kepentingan rakan-rakan kita untuk merayakan Christmas tahun ini untuk di Sarawak.
He said this when met by the media after attending the Merarau Ngiling Tikai event organized by Parti Rakyat Sarawak PRS in Sri Aman, Sarawak on Sunday. He explained that the allocation includes the Jiwa Murni Road Construction Project in Kuala Mendalam Limbang, the Ba'a Kelalan Bario and Niah routes, as well as the construction of a concrete bridge in Nangga and Talau, Ulu Skrang. Also approved was an allocation of 2.6 million ringgit for the extension of the rural water supply reticulation project in the Saratok area. At the same event, Dr. Sri Ahmad Zahid, who's also Barisan Nasional BN chairman, has expressed hope that leaders of GPS would go to the ground to help BN candidates in the 6 state elections. The Deputy Prime Minister said he wants the agenda of political stability in Sarawak to be an example which could be adopted by BN machinery during the campaign. Dr. Sri Ahmad Zahid said the matter had been discussed with the Secretary General of GPS, Dr. Alexander Nantalinggi, and it is expected that Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg would select who would be coming to assist in the campaign. Dr. Sri Ahmad Zahid said political leaders should bring the agenda of resolving the people's problems, which can be better implemented with political stability. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah and Raja Permaisuri Agong Tunku Hajah Aziza Amina Maimunah Iskandaria have arrived home safely from Saudi Arabia after performing their Hajj. The special aircraft carrying their majesties and their delegation arrived at the Bunga Raya complex of the Kuala Lumpur International Airport, KLIA, at 1:10 p.m. on Sunday. The royal family was met on arrival by Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim and his wife, Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Aziza Wan Ismail, as well as Chief Secretary to the government, Tan Sri Muhammad Zuki Ali. This was followed by a prayer recited by Federal Territories Mufti, Datuk Professor Madya Dr. Lukman Abdullah. Al-Sultan Abdullah and Raja Permaisuri Agong, who were accompanied by the Regent of Pahang, Tengku Hassanal Ibrahim Alam Shah, left for the Holy Land on June 21st. In an Istana Negara social media posting, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong expressed his gratitude for the blessings that allowed His Majesty and the Raja Permaisuri Agong to be in good health and smoothly complete the 5th pillar of Islam. Al-Sultan Abdullah also expressed his appreciation to the Saudi Arabian government for its thorough preparations and success in hosting some 2 million pilgrims for the Hajj season this year. The compliment was extended during His Majesty's meeting with Saudi Crown Prince and Prime Minister Mohammed bin Salman at the high tea ceremony hosted by the Crown Prince in Mina on June 29th. Al-Sultan Abdullah had also extended the highest appreciation to the Saudi government to accept 31,000 pilgrims from Malaysia and an additional 1,000 for this year's Hajj pilgrimage. After enduring trials and challenges during their time in the Holy Land, 31,600 Malaysian Hajj pilgrims successfully completed their individual pilgrimage on Saturday. The Mash'ar period, encompassing the stay in Arafah, Muzdalifah and Mina, as well as the stoning of the Jamrat, Tawaf, Sa'i and Tahallul, proceeded smoothly. According to the Tabung Haji Operations Report, 56% or approximately 13,200 pilgrims performed the first stoning and left Mina last Friday, while the remaining pilgrims completed the second stoning and left Mina on Saturday. With the safe return of all Malaysian pilgrims from Mina to Mecca, the Mash'ar operation representing the pinnacle of the Hajj pilgrimage officially concluded. After this, the pilgrims will begin departing the Holy Land in stages, with a first return flight scheduled to depart on July 5th. The final flight will depart from Medina on July 31st. It was reported that 2 male Hajj pilgrims aged 72 and 60 passed away last Friday due to lung infection, stroke and heart failure. The fatalities bring the total number of deceased Malaysian Hajj pilgrims to 4 thus far. 95 pilgrims were undergoing treatment at the Tabung Haji Medical Center in Mecca, while 15 others were in Saudi Arabian hospitals. After this breather, 2 dead, dozens injured in Baltimore mass shooting. Stay tuned. Over 700 people have been detained overnight, and more than 40 police officers and gendarmes were injured in the fifth night of rioting in France. The country's Interior Ministry said on Sunday that 719 people had been apprehended and 45 law enforcement workers sustained injuries during the protests. Meanwhile, the home of a Paris suburb mayor, Vincent Jean Brun, was raided and set alight while his wife and children were asleep inside during the unrest. The mayor's family sustained injuries as they fled the building in the early hours. China, along with some Western nations in the meantime, had also warned its citizens to be vigilant due to the unrest. In the U.S., at least 2 people were killed while 28 others were wounded in a mass shooting early on Sunday in the city of Baltimore. Authorities said the shooting took place just after 12:30 a.m. local time at a party in the Brooklyn Homes area in the southern part of the city. It was reported that an 18-year-old female woman was found deceased at the scene, and a 20-year-old male was pronounced dead after being taken to a local hospital. Of the total injured, 3 were in critical condition. It was believed that hundreds of people had gathered in the area for an event called Brooklyn Day. So far, no arrests have been made, and police are working to identify the suspect and motive for the shooting. Guatemala's top court on Saturday has ordered ballots from the first-round presidential election to be reviewed after the frontrunners party and allies challenged the results, setting up the potential for a recount ahead of the runoff vote. The court said it would suspend election processes in the Central American country until the ballots are reviewed, acting at the request of former First Lady Sandra Torres's National Unity of Hope Party, President Alejandro Glanmate's Vamos Party, and several allied groups. It also said that the Guatemalan electoral authorities would first check the votes for any irregularities, as well as to ensure they met legal requirements before determining whether to take the rare step of mandating a recount. Torres is set to face off in the decisive second round on August 20th with anti-graft candidate Bernardo Arevalo, who bucked forecasts to become the runner-up as anger over years of corruption scandals dominated voter sentiment. Eubanks conquers Mallorca. Sports when we come back. We're back with sports tennis, the Mallorca Championships. Christopher Eubanks earned his first ATP Tour title by beating Adrian Manarino in straight sets in the final. Playing in his first ATP Tour final, the 27-year-old American powered to a 6-1 victory in the first set. Manarino put up a fight in the second, but Eubanks held his nerve to claim a 6-4 win, closing out his third top 50 win in just over an hour. Behind his title triumph, Eubanks is set to debut inside the top 50 of the Pepperstone ATP rankings himself at number 43, entering Wimbledon. Still on tennis, the Eastbourne Rothesay international Francisco Cerundolo captured his second tour-level title when he moved past Tommy Paul in the final. 24-year-old Cerundolo produced a hard-fought display in the blustery Eastbourne conditions, with the fourth seed striking 28 winners to claim a 6-4, 1-6, 6-4 win after 1 hour and 51 minutes. Cerundolo has now won 2 tour-level titles, having triumphed in Bostad last year. He remains at number 19 in the Pepperstone ATP Live rankings, maintaining his career best position. In the women's event, Madison Keys won her second Eastbourne title with a 6-2, 7-6 victory against Daria Kasatkina in the final. Kasatkina had 4 set points and Keys completed her victory on her 5th championship point, which concluded with a 31-shot rally. Keys' previous victory at Eastbourne was in 2014. Woman dies after being stabbed 13 times by ex-husband. The details when Nightline returns. Thanks for staying with us. Thalassemia, an inherited or genetic blood disorder that affects the production of hemoglobin, has been alarming in Malaysia. In a bid to shed light on this often overlooked disease, various non-governmental organizations have united to raise awareness about its prevalence, prevention and treatment options, as well as to reach 0% of cases in the country. Hakim Azman reports.
Thalassemia Association of Malaysia Treasurer Jasmine Chong Abdullah said the blood disorder manifests in 2 main types, namely alpha and beta thalassemia, each with various subtypes and levels of severity. According to PubMed findings in 2022, 5% of Malaysians were reported to be carriers of this disease, making it crucial to address this issue head-on to prevent further cases. Living with thalassemia poses significant challenges, with patients grappling with a range of long-term health complications. One of the most demanding aspects is the need for monthly blood transfusions, which continue for the rest of their lives. Not only that, the treatment alone could cost about 3,000 ringgit per month, placing a significant financial burden on those already coping with emotional and physical challenges of the condition.
And a lot of them who doesn't have a proper chelation, then they will start to have other health complication due to the iron overload in their body. So some of them, they will have diabetes, some of them will have like kidney failure. Of course, the worst thing, it will be heart, because a lot of them pass away due to heart problem.
Jasmine also pointed out that a thalassemia major baby is at risk of death at the age of 8 to 10 years old if left untreated. highlighting the gravity of the issue. Despite this, members of the public remain unaware of its existence and impact on population.
Do you know about thalassemia?
Never heard about it.
I never heard about this. I don't know, but actually this is my first time to hearing about this one.
Thalassemia?
Yeah.
I've heard of it before, but I can't exactly remember the definition. Yeah, I'm not too sure what it is, but I've heard it before.
In order to curb the incidence of thalassemia major birth, Jasmine stressed that premarital screening is crucial in identifying carrier couples, which in return could reduce the number of cases.
At least before they get married, go and do a thalassemia screening, just to find out that if you are a carrier or not. If you are a carrier, make sure that your partner will go for the screening as well. You just cannot bear to, what happens if you get married and you know that your chances of getting 25% of getting a thalassemia major baby. Even though it's not very high, 25% is still considered as a chance of getting a thalassemia major baby. So then you will have to not just the parents suffering, because when they are young, the parents have to sacrifice, take the child to the hospital monthly for transfusion. And the worst thing is the child itself is suffering.
Jasmine also urged the government to play a more pivotal role in raising awareness and educating the public about the disease and its consequences. She added that by conducting early thalassemia screening in schools, it could help to identify the carriers and prevent future cases. As thalassemia continues to impact lives across the nation, unwavering commitment to raise awareness and provide support are needed to give a beacon of hope for those affected. By educating the public and advocating for change, we can make a significant stride towards a brighter future for those living with thalassemia. Hakim Azman, TV3.
In Kelantan, a 42-year-old single mother was killed, believed to have been stabbed by her ex-husband in an incident in Taman Desa Darul Naim, Kota Baru on Sunday. State Police Chief Dato' Muhammad Zaki Harun said police found the victim's body with 13 injuries in the living room of a rented house at about 3 a.m. A 51-year-old man has been arrested to facilitate investigations. Initial investigation by the police found that the couple had been divorced for 6 years, and jealousy is suspected to be the motive for the murder. Witnesses reported hearing an argument between the victim and the suspect, who believed his ex-wife was having an affair. The woman was heard screaming and then came out of the room, covered in blood, before collapsing in the living room. The victim had 3 children aged between 14 and 24 from her first marriage. The police have also seized a knife believed to have been used in the killing and were investigating the case under the Penal Code for murder. And that concludes Nightline this time around. As we wrap today, let's take a look as ferry boats perform synchronized ballet in Vancouver's Falls Creek to celebrate Canada Day. The ballet, performed by tiny ferries that usually transport tourists and locals, marks the 41st year of Falls Creek ferries crisscrossing the stretch of water. You've been with me, Raymond, for the past half an hour. Have a good and productive week ahead and stay safe.